Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
All right, folks, let's talk about the Olympics and how upset we were supposed to be about them, because of the opening ceremonies. Well, no, that's not why you're supposed to be upset now. Now you're supposed to be upset because a guy made a silly joke about women swimming. Yes, after a commentator made a joke about women putting on their makeup when referencing the Australians women's team, he was removed from his job and he was removed from the Olympics. This joke was completely innocuous. He was commenting on how long they were taking to get out there. His apology did not matter. That will get you fired from the Olympics. Doing an opening ceremony that mocks 2 billion plus people, that's fine. You'll even get to stay on into the closing ceremonies as well. Same people will be doing it. But this guy, he gets fired for that because that's how the world works in 2024.
Number 6.
Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall announced the arrest of Terry Andrew Heflin, a Democrat running for District 5 of the Clay County Commission. On what charges, you ask? Could they be voter fraud? Because we're told voter fraud never happens. All these attempts to stop voter fraud, those are just silly because there's no such thing as voter fraud. Well, except in this situation. Heflin allegedly falsified absentee ballots in order to use them to cast votes for himself. Now, each of these cases is a felony, carrying a potential 1 to 10 years in prison. Now, I know something about these kind of charges being brought by the Attorney General. They tried to put me in jail for 33 years. I'm going to guess this guy doesn't do a single day of jail time for 7 felony counts of voter fraud. He should fry.
Number 5.
Folks, school is starting up in some places, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Mobile County schools doing the absolute right thing with a ton of new security measures that every school system should copy. They have weapon detectors at the entrances, vape detectors in the bathroom. They are confiscating cell phones, and they are taking a hyper-aggressive strategy to manage their students, hoping that it turns into enhanced safety and improved academic performance. And listen, in this particular case, they are taking away their phones. At the beginning of the day, the school takes the phones away and locks them up. This is exactly what needs to happen, although most parents are going to freak out about this because I have to be able to reach my kid at all times. That's what parents are going to say, even though that wasn't a thing until a couple years ago. More school systems should follow this lead.
Number 4.
Alabama State Representative Wandolyn Gavan defended Vice President Kamala Harris against attacks claiming she used relationships to advance her career, stating such criticisms are racially and politically motivated. So, of course, Wandolyn Gavan is a Democrat, and this kind of falls on deaf ears, mostly because the overwhelming evidence and the admittance that Willie Brown, the most powerful politician in California at the time, was dating Kamala Harris while he was married to somebody else and appointed her to multiple boards that paid her well and helped write and build her resume. Gavan argued that if Harris was white and, say, Katie Britt, the United States Senator from Alabama, nobody would ever make allegations like this, which is not true, of course. The only reason people wouldn't make these allegations against Katie Britt is because there's not a single reason to make these allegations against Katie Britt.
Number 3.
During an event with the National Association of Black Journalists, an event that Vice President Kamala Harris would not do, former President Donald Trump did not shy away from being combative with those quote-unquote journalists who asked loaded questions and called Trump racist for being critical of black politicians and journalists, as if he's not critical of absolutely everyone, no matter what their race and gender is. He's equal opportunity in that way, and that's one of the things I like about him. Trump also questioned the racial identity of Kamala Harris, which did not make these journalists very happy, but he has good reason to do things. She tries to be all things to all people. This highlights her inauthentic nature and his willingness to go places most people wouldn't go. Now, maybe he shouldn't go there, but there's plenty of history of the media and Kamala Harris playing up different races whenever it was convenient for her to do so. That's what Trump's pointing out, and he struck a nerve.
Number 2.
Now, the name I'm about to mention here is unknown to a lot of you. It's David Bronner. He is allegedly the smartest man in Alabama politics. That's what all these journalists and commentators want to tell you. He's the CEO of the retirement systems of Alabama, and he has written a letter that's supposed to sway people into going for more gambling in the state. He, of course, the smartest man to ever live in Alabama, oversees a fund that is underfunded by $15.4 billion. His call for gambling to fix that is very stupid, seeing how $750 million is like the max that they think they can get out of gambling, which means you need like 20 years to do this with zero changes, which is not happening. But he's very smart, I'm told, and we should take him very seriously. David Bronner, smartest man in Alabama politics. Give that guy more money, even though it comes directly out of the state of Alabama. But yes, he is very smart, and we are all very impressed.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Election prognosticator Nate Silver has his first prognostication out after Kamala Harris actually entered the race. And if you're a Donald Trump fan, you're not going to like this, but stay tuned to the end of this and I'll explain a little bit more. The presumptive Democratic nominee now is favored to win the popular vote, but is a modest underdog to former President Donald Trump in the Electoral College. Silver states that Harris has better chances than Biden had, and he only had him at about 27% chances against Trump before withdrawing. Harris quickly consolidated Democratic support after Biden's withdrawal, and the model highlights a potential repeat of the popular vote electoral college split that was seen in 2000 and 2016. Could all of this change? Absolutely. It absolutely could change. And why do I bring this up? Because a lot of you are going to tell me, I don't care about polls. Polls don't matter. None of this matters. This matters. Momentum is moving in Harris's direction. Will it stop? Probably. The honeymoon has to end eventually. I mean, the media can only carry so much water. Can they do it all the way? Yeah, they'll probably try to, but will it be effective? Eventually, the American people will probably say, this is a little odd that you guys are going this hard here. But this is just a sign that there's a trend happening, and we need to be aware of that trend so we can discuss what's going on there. So I don't put too much stock in this, but I do not dismiss it outright, and that, I think, is an important thing for us to do. If you'd like to weigh in here, of course, you can obviously do so. The QC Kinetics free speech phone lines right there at 866-494-WVNN. You can get in on the scoutpestcontrol.com WVNN hot take text line at 866-494-9866, or you can always email me.
You've got mail.
Dale at WVNN.com. That's the downtownrescuemission.org email inbox. You can jump in right there. Right now, though, let me tell you about my friends at 2 Men in a Truck. They bring you the 7 things you should be talking about today, and we should talk about them for a very important reason. And that reason is very simple. You don't want to make the next move on your own. You want to have somebody help you, and that someone is 2 Men in a Truck. They have what's known as the grandma rule. Treat everyone the way you'd want your grandma to be treated. And you want your grandma to be treated well, obviously. So 2 Men in a Truck is going to do just that. I've used them. I love them. You get 2 men, a truck, and so much more. Whether you're like me and you're just moving from one house to another, that's fine. Maybe you're moving a giant office building or a small apartment a million miles away. Whatever it is, 2 Men in a Truck can help you out today. Let them do it for you. 2 Men in a Truck, Huntsville.com. Check them out today. And when you do, of course, you better tell them Dale Jackson sent you. And don't forget, get your questions in for 10 with him. Very easy way to do so. ScoutPestControl.com, WVNN. Hot take text line 866-494-WVNN.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson 7 things you should be talking about today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.